Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
Hello and a warm welcome to yet another edition of Talking Tales. Now, normally when this show begins, you see a book or two in the vicinity, kept either on the table or in the interviewer's hands. We decided to go for a change. With us is somebody who scripts stories, real life stories, on the cricket field. It's a privilege and a pleasure to welcome Dr. Sonali Pande, who's team physician to the hearing impaired Australian cricket team. And they are in Delhi, they are here for a tournament, and it's nice to see her in our studio.
Thank you, Manoj.
First things first. Hearing impaired cricket, this is not a very widely known term. Not many people would be aware of that teams exist where all players cannot hear. Now, the mystery is, if that is so, I'll come to your role in it later, but first of all, I want to understand what exactly the game is.
So, deaf and hearing impaired players being included in mainstream sports like cricket has actually been going on for a number of years. India has actually teams in all states. I have come along as Cricket Australia team physician, wherein the history of our deaf cricket team goes back to almost 1978. That's when first Australian team had come to India to play a game of cricket, and I think that time maybe the formats were a bit different. They used to play more test matches. Now the format that we have come for is T20 series along with host nation India and South Africa, and our next series is going to be one day with Indian team. So as far as the cricket is concerned, the rules are generally the same. There are little bit change because most of the players are actually having deafness and hard of hearing. In Australian team, majority of the players are fitted with cochlear implants. So the rule of
does that aid in a bit of catching sound waves?
That's right, but they are not allowed to wear that during the game, so they have to remove the cochlear implants. So in day-to-day their life, they are able to hear and able to communicate, able to talk as well. But for the game of the cricket, they have to actually take out the cochlear implant so that it's uniform with other teams as well. And that makes it very challenging because they cannot hear people calling them, and so communication between them is very important. There are at times risks of certain situations where they could be colliding. So that's
which could result in complications.
Well, that's definitely something that as a medical doctor I'm concerned about, risks for concussion, or they might collide when they are trying to field and take a catch, and there can be a number of other limb injuries as well. So that can be a peculiar situation that at times the communication becomes challenging. However, I must say, now having spent a week with this team now, they are really good in trying to encourage each other and trying to communicate.
Okay. So a lot of sign languages.
They use sign languages on field. They will encourage, they will do clapping, they will call out and say that, oh, I am trying to grab the ball, so on and so forth. Off the ground, yes, for us to communicate with the players, we need to take help of an interpreter So sign language specialist, we call it Auslan, which is Australian Sign Language. We have a lady who is accompanying the team as one of the staff member, who helps us communicate with the players. Especially it is needed when players injured and they sometimes are in shock, and that time we really need to understand what's the problem, locate the problem and understand the severity of their pain. So we might at times, like me and my physios who are running to the field, we'll also need an interpreter to come on the field to help us analyze.
I was coming to your exact role in the day-to-day matches, or maybe it's a long-term relationship with the team, even when they're not playing, possibly. We don't know yet. To tell our viewers, if somebody tells me, or somebody had told me that a team physician had just come in from Australia and was in India for a match, that would not have been news for me. But Dr. Sonali Pande happens to be an Indian working with the Australian cricket team, the hearing impaired cricket team. That kind of kindled interest. Tell me, how during matches, what is your routine like? How does the day begin? You communicate with your team. You must be looking after their health parameters or whatever, and then they start playing. Then what do you do? Standing in the stands the entire time with your bag ready, and what is the scene like?
So actually for a match we start a night before. We have team meeting with all the players, we have staff meeting in which who are playing next day is decided, who are unfit, what are their chances of needing rest or needing for the investigation or needing maybe assessment fresh in the morning. Sometimes we have to decide on the day in the morning, take them out for a run whether they can cope and have recovered overnight. So that's the preparation that happens with the medical team and communicating with the coach, assistant coach, and usually our mornings are those who are playing amongst the players. We encourage them to have proper long sleep. So we want them to be well rested. 6 to 7 hours of sleep is very important. They also need to fill up our online app of mental health and wellness. There's a lot of importance on this field in sports medicine, sports psychology, because they have to be mentally fit, physically fit to perform at their best ability. Our routine day starts with, we meet in the foyer after our breakfast, ready to board the bus around 8 o'clock. We reach the fields and then physio-led warm-ups are going on, then some sports-specific skill sets are going on in groups. So bowling practice, catching practice, batting practice is going on. And then around about half an hour before the game is the toss, and then the national anthem happens. So there is a lot of importance of morning warm-ups before the game, planning the strategy, and then the game is like, currently we are going through T20 series. So game is.
But you'll also be playing the one-day international.
We'll start one-day internationals from Monday. We have 3 one-days with host nation India, and our games are usually 20 overs aside. We are on a winning streak actually. Today we had hat trick of 3 wins in a row.
Okay, wonderful.
And tomorrow we have final.
Is the Indian team playing as well?
Yes, Indian team. In fact, yesterday Australia beat Indian team for the first time in last 20 years. Indian team is very strong, and we are also feeling the strength in our team as well. So every night we do discussions on what best needs to be done, what better things we can do, and this is not just cricket, but how we can encourage each other, uplift each other, and rise up in our performance.
Dr. Pandey, tell me something. On the stadium, at the stadium, if say India is playing Australia, then of course their team physician would also be there to take care of them. Now, do the two of you ever interact?
So,
Or there are secrets to be kept?
not at all. Australian cricket is blessed. We are giving a lot of importance to healthcare and well-being of the players. So, only the Australian team travels with team physician for this particular format. Indian team doesn't have their own team physician, but there is a backup for the whole game. So there are a team of railways, hospital who are giving the emergency backup. So
Okay.
those doctors are there. They are not necessarily the team physician category, but they are the emergency backup. So they are there along with the ambulance.
Boundary and a very good pickup shot by Kezia. Umpire Liga signals this wide. A good shot. Team Australia with this boundary comes to 110. Easy away. Gonna face this last delivery by Vivek Kumar. Last delivery of this beautiful inning. Up in the air. Going straight down the ground. Running for two. A close call. And when there's two, all these innings comes to an end. So after completion of 20th over, Team Australia is 112 for 9. Well fought. But this inning goes to Team India. And they restrict Australia just on 112. So keep watching, stay tuned, we will be back shortly with Indian inning.
रोकना ऐसे ले चलेंगे हॉस्पिटल अगर होगा तो बॉलर से रोकता नहीं रुक जाएगा सुई दे दो.
So the interaction with them could be a bit different, but I have interacted with other team physicians in past, and I think it's always like going out and helping each other, giving, if there is any interaction that we would like to, if somebody is in need of any other help.
Doctors being doctors, has it ever happened that during a match you have helped a team member of the opposition team? Does it ever happen like that?
It has not happened in this particular series. I've been sitting out in the Australian dugout. But in past I have done lot more times the role of tournament doctor, wherein I have been in charge of all the teams. So like recently I come from Northern Territory, which is a state in Australia. We had top end series where
Darwin, did you say?
Darwin, that's right. Darwin is famous for its Charles Darwin theory. So I recently had opportunity to be tournament doctor, wherein all the BBL teams had come. BBL is the Big Bash League of Australia. This was a pre-season for them along with Pakistan and Bangladesh team. So yes, as a doctor, your role is to take care of the players who are coming to seek your help. And
Dr. Pande, now there's a doctor who sits in a clinic the whole day and looks after patients. Now here's a doctor who is on her toes during the entire match, and possibly, I mean, there must be innumerable times when you have to run to the pitch, which is pretty far away from. So, does it require a special fitness regime or regimen on your part?
that's true. I mean, you'll see most of the sports physicians are active themselves. Some level of fitness is definitely mandatory for you to be able to be of help on the field. Yeah, almost on a daily basis. we have to go and help the player if it's the middle of the field. At times players are able to walk to us as well, so we meet midway. And that's very important aspect. Yeah.
And is there certain equipment that you carry for emergencies?
So I will usually have my, I say, hip bag or emergency bag. My kit is about 60 kg, the whole kit. So that stays in our medic room or changing room, which has got all the emergency, including AED, where that's given a lot of importance nowadays, defibrillators. And we have everything in that kit, one of the picture that was recently becoming very popular in media was me doing this, and the half of the picture was cut. Actually it was because I was holding that 60 kg bag. That's why I was posing to our media person that okay, I can do it. But yes, the equipments that are needed, we can actually categorize them and leave some emergency stuff there. When we see something, what's happening there, then we know what to pick up. Usually I'll have a duffel bag with me, which I run to the field with. Physio will have his own kit as well, like taping and everything. So yeah, it's mix of things that we need. And at times we have to move the player so that the game continues. So we have to take the call that we are not halting the game, delaying So sometimes we will say no, we are going to take longer time, get the player out, send a sub in. Yeah.
Another point of curiosity is the kind of level of fitness that cricket requires today on part of the cricketers themselves. Is there a special diet, nutritionally curated diet or something that the kind of energy levels and stamina that they require the entire day? Is there something very special or different than ordinary diets?
Definitely. Most of the athlete nowadays go through a sports nutritionist advice. They are usually given a plan, and they have to follow certain requirements pre-game, how to recover from the game, and the important aspect of maintaining the hydration, what kind of fluids they should be taking.
Just water is not enough? Definitely
not, because depending on the environment, luckily we are enjoying the beautiful weather of Delhi, and it's been wonderful. It's not been dehydrating a lot, and at times we have to remind ourselves that though we are not really feeling sweaty, we have to keep on hydrating as well. So that's an important aspect. So the runners who are taking the water, they know that they have to add hydrolytes to the drink. And as far as diet specifically is concerned, we are making sure they are taking enough carbs for the energy. Then they have to take protein as well to maintain the muscle stock. So when they are training, they need to take adequate amount of protein in their diet as well.
Let me confess, as a child, I always used to feel that when cricketers were given something to drink, it was one of those soft drinks. I mean,
drinks
they have nothing to do with hydration, but that's what the ads used to tell us.
That's right.
Dr. Sonali Pande, the attempt here is to know more than just what you are on the cricket field. One would be curious to know about your life, your journey as a doctor, first and foremost. We'd like you to begin with that point when you cleared your 12th standard, presumably, if the structure was like that.
Yeah.
And then how you traveled, the way you took.
So I have had all my basic education in Nagpur. I'm very proud of my school, Somalwar High School. That's where I finished my 10th actually. Then
I'm from Bishop Cotton. So.
Right, okay. And then I was in Shivaji Science for year 11-12. Then I joined Indira Gandhi Medical College, which is a government medical school, and I did my MBBS and MS in orthopedics.
Okay.
So I'm an orthopedic surgeon, have been for last 25 years, and after my MS orthopedics, I have worked in England. So I did my second masters in orthopedics from Dundee.
Okay.
I did my training in Liverpool region. We call it rotation, orthopedic rotation. So I finished about 6 years in UK. After that, I actually returned back to India. I worked here for 5 years with my work focused in pediatric orthopedics. In 2006, along with my husband, I moved to Brunei, which is in Southeast Asia. I was the only private orthopedic surgeon in that country for nearly 9 years.
Okay.
And last about 6 years, I got support from other doctors who could also work. And my stay in Brunei, I realized I was doing a lot of sports. I was doing polo covers, and there was a lot of football games. And my interest in sports was arising at that time, and I was well supported, on home front. So I thought of going back to books. That's when I did my distance learning in sports medicine. I did my master's. I also got a degree in rheumatology, and I was doing a lot of regenerative medicine.
This is the first time, by the way, Talking Tales is discussing medical books.
Oh.
Yeah. Then
And I must emphasize, at that point of time, I was still one of the very few female orthopedic surgeons from India. When I left India to go to Brunei, I was one out of 50. And now there are still, number is small, about 300 female orthopedic surgeons in India. So I'm actively involved in mentoring women in orthopedics.
is there a hitch? Is there a hitch? Psychological hitch or something?
Well, there is sometimes people think that in dominant fields like surgery and orthopedic surgery, which is looked upon a bit masculine, female surgeons are worried about how they will get acceptance, whether they'll get adequate support. It's a male dominant field as well. I myself come from family of orthopedic surgeons, so it was probably not a very difficult decision for me. But yeah, it is still not as popular, and that's what we try and mentor the ladies in the surgical field.
So after Brunei, did Australia happen immediately?
So when I finished my masters and I was doing a lot of this regenerative work, I applied to Australasian College of Sports and Exercise Physician. By then I was already 50 and didn't want to go back to basic training, and I thought I'll try my luck. If they accept me as specialist, I would be more than happy to move towards that specialty, and they indeed did. They accepted me to be eligible to work in Australia and New Zealand, and I wanted to be.
But permit me to ask you, did Australia happen just because of the proximity with Brunei?
Not really.
That made you feel comfortable? Or?
Absolutely not. Anyone can apply. You do require some basic qualifications. At times you have to give the exams as well to get into the eligibility to become a sports physician. You need registration to practice in Australia, so that's very important, and college is the medium through which they will filter the different applications and see who they recognize who can work as specialists. So I was fortunate, I got the opportunity by college, and I've been working in Darwin last 3 years. I work in tertiary sports medicine, that's my clinic name. We are only 2 sports physicians in the whole state. That's why, because of my love for cricket, I started doing the cricket covers in Northern Territory.
Does your husband play cricket?
He used to play cricket, and in fact I hear that he has recently taken up in Australia. He was just telling me that he might be playing cricket again, so he did take a break for a few years.
As a hobby?
Well, he played at county levels in England, so I am a cricket widow. Then I was a cricket mum, of course forever cricket fan, and now I'm a cricket doctor, so that's an interesting phase of my life. Yes.
Besides your let me say, your professional interests and your academic interests, your academic pursuits. If I look at you slightly on the personal side, your hobbies, I'm sure to the kind of places you've traveled, traveling per se must also be, I mean, a point of interest for you.
100%.
So where all have you traveled?
I have traveled a lot more extensively outside India, which I feel I now want to travel more in India. We as family, we lived in England, so we have seen England, Europe. We have visited US, Southeast Asia, and in Australia there is a lot of concept of road travel, which we have done part of it, and we look forward to doing more road travel in Australia and New Zealand now.
I've heard it's beautiful.
It is, and actually both my children and my husband also, we are into travel.
Dr. Sonali Pande, I noticed a special glint in your eye the moment you entered the All India Radio Akashvani premises. What is the secret?
I'm not sure whether you are aware, my mother-in-law, Prema Pande, she worked in Akashvani in Nagpur. She was the chief announcer there.
Oh, if memory serves me correctly, I was a child then, and on the radio I've heard this name.
Yes, Prema Pande, she was very popularly known, and she would be so proud. And I'm really thankful for this opportunity that Akashvani All India Radios have given for me to come and visit here in the studio and talk to you all. This is a huge moment for me.
It's a pleasure and privilege for us as well. As we come to the concluding part of our program, for the sake of our young viewers, our young listeners, I'd like you to guide them on various facets of sports medicine as a profession, if one wants to choose that.
In sports medicine, you can be involved as physician. There is a big number of other subspecialties. Physiotherapists are actively involved. There are nutritionists who are needed. Sports psychology is upcoming field as well. Sports management is also a big aspect, especially the managers who are moving with us and traveling with the team.
Okay.
So there is a huge range of involvement that can be done in a elite level sports. As a sports medicine specialist, you have to be either choosing to work in the clinic or you like team travel. That's totally different aspect of sports medicine where
And
you are
that must be challenging as well.
It is, because you have to keep the players fit on the ground, but have to make sure that they are fit outside ground. So during travel time, we talk to them about how to overcome jet lags, how to overcome common injuries, the area we are going to, environmental situations, like we were worried about the air quality when we came here, but that's not the big issue. We are always worried about travelers' diarrhea. So all these issues are there.
And do you think in India education connected with this has advanced to a certain level?
Absolutely. I'm actually a member of Indian Sports Medicine group as well. So that's happening in India, but I don't know whether it's reaching at the community level. Wherein in Australia it has definitely percolated at community level, so everyone gets exposed to this kind of concept.
Okay.
In India, I think it is still at more elite level, or those who are funded by the national teams or state teams. This is definitely a faculty where it will change the mindset of people, get them attracted more towards sports. If they are looked after by a proper trained physicians, so that they don't get any repercussions from the injury, and then once they retire they will still have good quality of life. That's very important aspect. Yes.
Dr. Sonali Pande, it was very interesting talking to you. As I conclude, Uh, my natural instinct would be to close my eyes and say, may India win, may the Indian team win when in the tournament that you're part of. But as a human being, of course, I'll say, may the best team win.
I agree.
On that note, and with a very good doctor around, I'm sure even your team will benefit a lot.
I would like to say that Cricket Australia gave me opportunity to come to my home country, and actually because of that recent popularity that I have gained being a team physician, I'm extremely thankful to Cricket Australia and IDCA as well, the Indian Deaf Cricket Association, who are hosting this wonderful tournament. And it's a good opportunity for me to talk about cricket being an inclusive sports. Cricket is for all. It's not just for elite level. There are going to be blind Cricket Australia team coming to India in November.
Okay.
So it's inclusive sports, and I think we have to look at cricket a little bit differently.
So I close with a curious remark. How's that down under?
Oh, wonderful. You must come and visit us in Australia.
Bye for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Manoj.